even by my siblings, because they would say, we don't get you. Like, you are so different. Like, you are just like so different. Like, you know, because I was like the really kind one, and I didn't get in like trouble. They were always in trouble with something. I was the one who always was like the observer. I would sit back and kind of just watch people. And I never kind of got myself caught up in stuff or followed the crowd, followed my siblings, whatever they were doing. And they'd always say, we don't get you. You're like so different. And then what I realized as I got older was that I didn't use that. I didn't see that anymore as them offending me. I saw that as, wow, look at the privilege. I tapped into something at a very young age. I realized at a very young age that I didn't have to follow anybody else, that God gave me something so unique and so special, and that I needed to rise to that every single day. I had to show my appreciation of that every single day. And so now my siblings always say to me, God, like, we're almost jealous that you figured that out at a young age, because some of us are still trying to figure that out. And then they say, how did you figure that out? And I said, because I sat in the wisdom. I sat in a place of observing other people. I sat with, I think when you silence all the noise, and I was really good at doing that, stillness really does speak. You hear it all the time, and stillness absolutely speaks. And I fell in love with that. Like, I just thought, this is beautiful. This is amazing that you can tap into this thing. And when I was younger, I didn't know what to call it. I didn't understand what it was, but I knew that I was gifted with something, and not just me. I believe that everybody was gifted with something very unique, but that not everyone is able to tap into that at such a young age. And there are actually adults who still haven't been able to tap into it. And for that, I think that's a sad thing, because every single person on this planet has something that the world needs. Every single person has something that the world needs. And that's what I love doing in my presentations, is encouraging people to go out there. Even when you talked earlier about me mentoring, like when I mentor speakers right now, and any one of them will tell you, when they say to me, will you come to my presentation and critique it? And I say, absolutely not. I will not.
You said that to me too.
No, I will not critique your presentation, because you know what? I'm not going to critique anything that God's given to you. Like that, you figure out what you're supposed to do with what he gave you. And if you want any kind of critique, maybe the people who are paying you will want to critique you, but I will never come and tell you how you should perform on a platform. I know what I need to do. I will encourage you in whatever way you feel you need to go, but absolutely not. I mean, who do I think I am that I would critique somebody else's present? No, it's not. That's not part of who I am.
Speaking of two things I wanted to address. You know, you mentioned discovering your gifts at an early age.
Yes.
That is the epitome of the Joseph story.
Yeah.
Joseph would just walk around and talk. I have this dream. Da, 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 da. And his brothers were like, dude, we don't want to hear this. You know, it got to the point where they hated him, you know, wanted to take his life. But the thing is that all of these things he had to go through to hone the gift that was in him. I tell people when I do presentation, I said that there's a difference between life and living. Life is a gift wrapped up in a package, and living is the process by where you open up your gift and you can have Christmas any single day. I said, you have got to open it. If you don't open your package, then guess what's going to happen? Then your gift is trapped inside this package, and it will never, ever be seen or experienced. The development.
I love that. I love that.
Now,
I love that. And I think sometimes what happens is sometimes people, instead of opening their gift, they're opening somebody else's gift.
Oh, yes, indeed.
You know what I mean? And I say to people, you know, you have to be careful. Don't be accepting every gift that comes to you. Pay attention to your own gift, because, you know, if you have a gift, if somebody shows up at your door, Andrew, with a box, and you hear tick, 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 you might not want to open that box up. You know what I mean? But some people do, and they open up these boxes. I go, no, when you hear the tick, and you go return to sender, because everybody will tell you how you should live. You should be doing this, you should be doing that. And we accept all these things. And of course, you know, we want to hear feedback from people. We want to hear advice from people, but the ultimate decision has to be yours in terms of what you think is best for you. And I've seen so many people want to do things that really, that's not what their purpose is. They're tying it into somebody else's. You know, they see somebody else doing something, they go, oh, I want to do that. And I don't know if you've experienced this, even on the platform, Andrew, you'll have people come to you afterwards and say, I want to do exactly what you're doing, like exactly what you're doing. And I'll go, hey, listen, I don't poo-poo on anybody's dreams. You want me to support you? I will support you. But I have never probably in the 20 years that I've done it, I've had like tons of people come to me and say that, and I've supported them. And maybe about 3 that I can name have actually followed through, because it really was where they were supposed to be.
Correct.
Sometimes you look at shiny objects and you go, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Not necessarily. But if you go back to your power base again, then you're going to figure out what that is that you should be doing. And you will know when you're doing it like this, Andrew, because everything inside of you will just explode. Wow. Like you just can't help yourself. Like you just like, it's just like, like you just love it, right? Because you wake up in the morning and you're on fire and you're ready to do it. And I mean, I'm like, that's my story. Like, I know I'm in the right place, because it's just, when I go on that platform, it's just sheer joy. And it's absolute sheer joy. And the best part of that sheer joy is knowing that you have had an impact on someone else in a very positive way.
I love the way you said it.
It's having that impact is what's so critical for me, like so critical. Even when this may sound a little egotistical, but I'm not coming from that place. Yes. Even when I got to the place where people would say, I have your evaluations here, you're going to want to read them. And I go, no, I don't want to read them. And they'd say, you don't want your evaluation? No, I don't want the evaluations, because I'm not coming in for the evaluations. I'm coming in because I feel like I'm supposed to be here, and I'm supposed to help people, and I'm supposed to support people. And so my hope is that I've supported the majority of the people. And if I have done that, then I'm very grateful. But I don't need all the hoopla of, wow, look how great you are, and look how wonderful you did, and look at this. I don't need to read those, because I know from the moment I leave that platform how I've done, how I feel. And my goal is always to never leave that platform unless I feel like I've had some impact. Wow. And because this is what it's all about, right? We have to have impact on other human beings. And it's not about all the, well, look how great you are. I don't care about that.
You know what? When I think about 2 things, when you said impact, it reminded me of my upcoming book, Create Your Greatest Impact, right? You mentioned about what we say to ourselves. Everything that you're saying, it resonates with me so much. As a teacher in Jacksonville, Florida, I used to take notes. I do a reflection after every class.
Right.
And I'll sit back and I think about what happened in the class period. I'll think about who was sitting in front of me. One of the things that I tend to do is I make sure I ask the students at the beginning of the semester, what do you want to become? What do you see yourself being? And there's a saying that we use in the field of education. It says, begin with the end in mind, right? You know, our creator did that. He saw what we look like and he said, okay, fine. I know what you look like. I know what you're supposed to be, but I'm going to start you here. You see what I mean? Yeah. And I always ask them and they'll say, oh, Mr. Guy, I'm not going to be anything and so forth. That's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen in this house. It's not going to happen in these walls. And it's not going to happen on my watch. And they say, well, Mr. Guy, you're not wearing a watch. I said, here's what I'm trying to get you to say. Whatever you say, you will have. And I didn't know that what I was basically conditioning these students to do is to make sure they're using the right words. And years later, the Lord said to me, you need to write a book called Work Your Words. I said, Work Your Words. Work your words. What does that mean? It said, if words worked, will produce a dividend. If you don't work your words, then you will have everything else that you're not supposed to have. He said, I worked my words. My words went out and said, let there be. And the word worked. He said, don't be a sayer, but be a doer of the word. And so I want to encourage you, if you're listening to me for the first time, you're listening to the podcast of Andrew E. Guy. What is it? ILIR-PODCAST. I'm listening. I am ready. It's the podcast that is dedicated for those who are on the GO. Whether you're traveling by land, air, or sea, you're listening to me in the MORNING. All right.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Have a fantastic day.
All right. You too. Take care, man.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Until next